have an update as to where I am with the controller piece. I've already started hooking the wires together and soldering a couple things and sort of redoing a few ideas I had, and I'm going to continue doing that right now and just figure I'd give you an update and then show you a drawing of the whole process and sort of what I'm working on currently. So this is my work area. This is usually has nothing on it, so kind of right in the middle of everything. But here's the Pi Pico. Here it's got a few wires soldered on. I've got the telephone wire hooked to it. Let's see if I can get a shot of the bottom there. So there's power and ground, and then the two signal wires. And then it's coming right here where there is a break. That's where the first sensor will go. And then this is a 5-foot cord coming off of here that goes to the external sensor. I have this drawing since that work area is kind of a mess and it was hard to see some of that stuff, but for those that need a visual, this could be any 12 volts, but that's going to be, I have a EcoFlow solar charge battery pack. That's a 12-volt fan. This is the MOSFET connector or board. This is the Pi Pico that's controlling everything. Goes to the internal sensor first and then jumps over to the external sensor. There will be a jumper on each of these boards, one for ground and one for power on this one, so I can tell which one is which in the code that's on the Pico. So this will be pulling each of these every 5 minutes and controlling this board to allow power through if it's out of bounds or I need a purge. So that's the whole idea of it. I know that you could probably just crack open one of the edges of the Softopper and probably get it close, but I was kind of interested in microcontrollers and just looking for a project, so I am aware this is over-engineered for what it is, but it's, I think, a good project to do if you're into, you know, just small systems like this to practice with. So that's what I've got today. Again, this is the current situation. So the goal is basically just to have all this wired up. I already have the power cable. This is already ready to go. So this plugs into the battery pack. Like I said, that could be any 12-volt source you have. And then I have this connector that plugs right into the case fan on the end of it. And then this is the MOSFET board in the drawing. So these two leads here will connect back to the Pico and act as a switch to get power from one side to the other on this. So I'll continue with this, and then I'm hoping here pretty soon, which should be the next clip for you, this will be in the truck, and see if we can get a test going today with it, because it's pretty cold outside. It's about 34 degrees out, so we should be able to use the heater and see if we can get a purge going, because I know that it gets really hot in there. So I'll be back in a little bit, either with an update of where I am currently with this deal, or in the truck turning the propane heater on. Here is the drawing one more time, where we've got the power source, fan, MOSFET, controller, and then the two sensors. I've got it all wired up. So this is my source, battery pack. We've got the controller here, the MOSFET board, the fan connector, and then this is like the exit tube. That's the fan there. Inside of it, there's sensor number 1 and sensor number 2, so internal and external. I have no clue if this is actually going to work, since I haven't tried it yet. I've only tried it on the breadboard, which worked fine, but it's all soldered up and connected, so there's actually no code on this one yet. I have to go upload the code onto the Python script onto here. And then we're going to go take that out and hook it to the 20-pound tank and see if this whole rig works. I might put a test script on here that just turns the fan off for maybe 10 seconds and then off 10 seconds just to make sure there's like power going to that. And then I'll just test it right here. I won't put it in the truck yet. And then I'll go load the regular script and take it for a test run, because like I said, it's pretty cold outside now, so it should work. And we'll be in the truck right now. I have set everything up in the Softopper. The board's plugged in. The board's plugged in to this. The fan is plugged in, waiting for the signal. That's the MOSFET switch there. This is the internal sensor right there. The heater is going. Currently it is 48 in here and 40.8 outside. So it should kick on within 5 minutes of that going over, I think like 80 if it even gets that warm in here. So that's one thing. If it doesn't even get as warm as it should be, it won't come on. One last thing I did, since I don't have a computer in here to test the script, is if it can't read the sensors for some reason, it will turn the LED on, and it's not on, so it must be working. So I guess I didn't really test it with this power bank. Hopefully it's getting the right voltage in there. Should be. I know that the DC outlet needs to be turned on specifically. There's not a button for the USB down here. So you need to turn these on and that on. I don't think that this works, these two. I think these are just on all the time. This power's on. But like I said, I will check back in when this temperature either levels out and just let you know that it didn't get that warm in here, or that the temperature went over 80 and this fan kicked on. So we'll check back in just a second. I'm back for an update, and it does work. It did come on, so as you can see, the LED there is on. So the fan is on, and I'm not really sure why. I almost need to come back out here with a laptop or something, or fix it so this Pico Pi can send out something like via web server that I can pick up on my phone to tell me what temperature it is, because the temperature only says that it's like 73 degrees in here. So I don't know exactly why it came on. I know that these most accurate sensors, so I'm just gonna keep letting it run and see how warm it gets in here. That was my concern, is that it wouldn't be able to actually equalize it, like that fan is not enough. So I'll have to figure out maybe some other way to generate more static pressure, or just pull more air. So I'll be back with an update soon. Alright, so this will probably be the last update for this video, unless I do one last one, if I have time to do everything I want to do. So I want to make a few changes for this. It does seem to be working. Again, I think I already said that, but the last clip, I'm not sure if this fan is strong enough for this setup. I don't know if it's pulling enough air. It seems like my sim that I ran on the code is probably cooling it off too quickly. It definitely does not cool down in here a lot when this fan is on. It does a little. The temperature right now in here, according to this one I have that I can see, is 78.6, and it has a max on it. And it got up to 84, so it's definitely going up and down in here when that fan is on or off. But one thing I'm going to do is take the fan out and just look at it and see if it has a CFM rating on it or a CFM number, and then look at the other couple of fans I have, plus the one that came with the little housing, and see which one has the best flow, and then put that in there and try it out, and then compare that against maybe some fans I see on Amazon. I'll check and see if there's any that have significantly more airflow, and maybe get that and try that out too. So I'm going to check the fan for one. For two, I'm going to modify the script on here. You can actually use these Pi Picos as Wi-Fi access points, and you know, upload and send data out via that way. So I'm going to add something to do that, so I can see what the temperature was at the last reading and whether, you know, the fan is on or off, even though I can see it. But just to give me the data back, you can have it be a web server basically. So I should be able to check it on my phone to see what the temperature was at the last time the fan either went on or off, and then probably some like plain English instructions as to why it went on or off, like what triggered it. And then in here I'm going to flip this section over and move that over here. The only thing I'm concerned about is if I do fall asleep out here and this thing is on, like kicking my feet over or kicking a blanket over on this, you know, right here it's not warm at all. I mean, the heat is, you know, it's got to be at least right here, but it's mostly just coming straight up, so it doesn't radiate out really at all. It's just a little bit warm right here, you know, maybe a foot above where this thing is pointing, but then straight up is where all the heat's going, is up here. And then I want to have this over there in this corner and flip this over and just have it away from where my feet are, just so I don't catch my sleeping bag on fire while I'm sleeping. So I'm going to do those couple of changes, and then I think I'm just going to go ahead and try to sleep in this tonight at my house and just see how it goes. I don't remember if I put logging on here or not, but I may do some logging just to tell me like one line of what the temperatures are and the humidity between the inside and outside sensor, and whether the fan was on and it switched to off or vice versa, or whether, you know, if it was on and it just stayed on, like whatever the state change basically of the fan. And then just check the logs to see what temperature it's actually getting to in here according to those sensors, because I know they're not exactly right. So yep, I'll probably do one more update for this video if I can get through all of those changes, which the biggest one is just disassembling this and changing the fan and updating the script. I mean, flipping this bed up is going to take 5 seconds. So, alright, I'll check back in. Alright, update. I know I said probably going to have one more, so this is supposed to be the last one, but we'll probably have one more after this. I do have everything set up in here for the night, so I'm going to spend the night in here. It did take a nap earlier for like maybe 30 or 40 minutes, and everything seemed to go okay. I did make some changes. It's in the corner now. Scotty is with me. She's going to be testing it out in here. She's probably perfectly comfortable right now, so I just got in here. The temperature is actually 41 inside, 32 outside, but I don't think that she knows the difference. The other changes is I put a web server on the Pico so I can see the temperature now, and did a couple of other things. I can set it to manually on or manually off, and restart a loop manually, or just check the sensors again manually all through the web app. I'll put a picture to the web app right here on the screen so you can check it out for a second. I think that was the only other thing. Oh, I did switch the fan out too. The fan I picked, for some reason, I didn't even check the flow of it, but I picked the weakest one I had, which was around 47 CFM. And the one that came with the housing is a thicker fan. I think it's a 38 millimeter thickness by 120 millimeter width, and it supposedly does 120 CFM, so it's gonna almost triple the airflow. It pushes the vent out. The other one didn't even push the dryer vent out, but this one definitely does. So it should cool it down and pull a lot more air when it comes on. I already tested it out. It's quite a bit louder, and I could actually feel the wind being sucked through these holes when it was on. The other things I'm going to do, which I'm probably not in the immediate future, but soon, is the tailgate has significant gaps in it where it meets the truck. And then the back end of the Softopper, like this corner here and that corner over there, have pretty big gaps in it, which is fine. I think I'll probably leave this one alone, but I'd like to seal this one up so that we only have this opening, really, that's kind of big, and then that exit port over there, so the air just kind of flows in here, up into these things, and then out. And then seal up like the corners and everything else. But I do have my carbon monoxide sensor. It's right here behind me. I didn't get lightheaded or anything. I had my wife sitting outside of the vent, and she said she could smell propane outside of there. And so it's sucking all of the fumes out, which is good because they all sit at the top anyway and get sucked out of this pipe. One thing I did notice is it works really good with the humidity. That stayed in around 30, I think, percent humidity, and with it off, it would go up to about 45%. It was close to 50 when I came in here and burned this thing a little while before I even had the fan running. But it should work quite a bit better now. It might run too long, so we'll get through tonight with this fan here and just see how the temperature, I guess, is handled. But we might have to do tighter loops, like maybe 1 or 2 minute loops, 3 minute loops, because it's on 5 minute right now, where every 5 minutes it checks the sensor and then determines if it needs to purge air out. So as with that, I got the TV in here, the Raspberry Pi, so I'll probably watch a movie, maybe play a Nintendo game or two, and then check back with you in the morning. See ya. Well, it's the next day. I did not make it all the way through the night. It got too cold in there. The system actually works really well. It worked too well for the fan that I put in there. So 2 things I have to do. One very minor tweak and another a little bit larger project. My truck bed has 0 insulation in it, so it got down to, I think, 30 degrees last night. And the floor of the truck bed was probably 40 degrees or just above the outside temperature. And then the side of the bed was also radiating cold air, so it just felt like it was sort of encapsulating me. So I'm gonna have to maybe get some foam boards or something to put on the bed of the truck and then cut them to fit the sides of that bed. And then the smaller modification to the script that I have is probably set the polling to 10 seconds while the fan is on. So while it's off, it can still do 5 minutes, just check the temperature to see if the fan comes on. But once that fan comes on, I need to check like every 10 seconds or so, because if it runs for 5 minutes with that fan pulling air through there, that's 3 times faster than the other one. It drops the temperature 5 to 10 degrees in a minute. So yeah, the polling rate needs to be a lot tighter when the fan is on. So those are the 2 changes I'm going to make. That'll be it for this video, because I'm not going to be doing the insulation anytime soon, maybe in the next week or 2, but I'll just go ahead and put this up to see, to track this little endeavor. And I'm sure anyone who's even tried to camp in their truck bed was even a little bit cold, saw that I had no insulation, was probably thinking that I was going to need some. So I mean, if you were doing this, I'd say if it's going to drop below 50 degrees, it also kind of depends on your tolerance for cold too, but 50 degrees, because it seemed like the little buddy at least heats at about 40 degrees above the outside temperature. That's what I can get it to. I might be able to add some with some more insulation. But if you start dipping them down below to where you feel not comfortable sleeping out there with no insulation, it's basically just going to come right through the floor and right through the side of the truck bed. So that's going to wrap it up for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.